need right now. We have a duty and a responsibility, like I said, to educate our people on the need to have a strong, formidable structure. A strong, formidable structure that will last the test of time. Because we in Africa are used to this type of activities where we have one-man activities, one-man business, one man, and the moment the owner of these activities are no more, continuation, it ends with him, it ends with the founder. But in this situation, Biafra struggle is a different ball game entirely that cannot depend on one individual to make the general decision for everybody. We've seen it before our own very eyes, how one individual have from time to time make decisions, and we saw the consequences. Even after the Civil War, when Biafra gave up and surrendered to Nigeria, because we lacked structure, between 1967 to 70, or basically there was no strong institution. Everything collapsed as soon as Ojukwu left for Ivory Coast, and General Philip Effiong handed over Biafra to Nigeria. Everything collapsed because there was no institution to now oversee the post-war program for Biafran people. Because if there was an institution, a strong institution that had been put in place within that 3 years to oversee the... Okay, somebody is telling me that my voice is very low. Okay, let me see if I can bring my microphone a bit further. So please, if my voice is low, please let me know. Let me know. I have been able to draw my microphone a bit closer. Mazi says your voice is low. We barely hear you. Please, if my voice is low, if it's getting better, or somebody said, Obasi said yes. Is it, Obasi, is it yes or no? Because I want to ascertain. Okay, Mazi, can you please help me confirm my voice? Confirm my voice, please. I need confirmation of my voice. I need confirmation of my voice, guys, please. Okay, he says it's a little bit low. So I don't know how to deal with the... I have to find a way to resolve the microphone issues. Okay, Ogechukwu said that my voice is okay. So sometimes it could be your devices. It could be your devices. Just give me a moment. Okay, so, Mwado Ogechukwu said that my voice is clear. That my voice is clear. And, okay, you need to increase the volume of your devices, please. So as you join me, please make sure you help me to share this program. Please help me share. I know that many of you are sharing, but just keep on sharing the program. Okay, Nordic Nord said that my voice is okay. The sharing should just be continuous. After some time you share again, after some time you share again, so that this program will continue to come on your timeline consistently. Now we are going to talk about individual leadership. We've talked about structural leadership. We talked about structural leadership, and what we took home was consistency. Clarity in decision making. When you have structural leadership, you have logic, because people are given the opportunity to bring their own thoughts on the table. So the advantages, you need to go back to that video, because I don't want us to make a revision of what we did yesterday. If you haven't watched the program of yesterday, you need to go back to the program of yesterday to be able to listen to it. But today we are taking individual leadership, and I'm going to give you, I already have the definition on the title, and it says individual leadership, where decision making and power responsibility are concentrated in one man. Individual leadership is where decision making, power and responsibility are concentrated on one man. Then can lead to several distinct disadvantages for both the leader and the organization. It says individual leadership is where decision-making power and responsibility are concentrated on one man. And this can lead to several distinct disadvantages for both the leader and the organization. These drawbacks often stem from lack of diverse perspectives and the high personal cost of maintaining absolute authority. It be like I don't know how I would have loved to share this thing on the screen. I'm telling you, I would have loved to share what I'm reading out on the screen, so that you understand, so that you'll be reading it by yourself. It says individual leadership is where decision making, power and responsibility are concentrated on one person, and can lead to several distinct disadvantages for both the leader and the organization itself. Even an individual leadership can also even cause disadvantage to the leader itself. Not just the organization, but to the leader himself. Now, he says that these drawbacks often stem from lack of diverse perspectives and high personal cost of maintaining absolute authority. We talked about absolute power and absolute authority. I've talked about it when people were saying that what happened to our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, was that he was being jazzed, that they used jazz on him, that they used juju, that he is being manipulated by spiritual power. And I told them, no. So we are coming to that point that I made the last time, and he says, lack of diverse perspective and the high personal cost of maintaining absolute authority. So when you have an absolute authority, the cost of maintaining that absolute authority is very high because of the risk that it carries. When there is an absolute authority, it carries a lot of risk. Where you do not have people making input, bringing ideas, and that is why you see people say, you talk about democracy. We are not talking about democracy now in freedom fighting, because when we say there is no democracy in freedom fighting, we are not diving. We don't want IPOB to be a democratic government, because we are not running that kind of government. But what we intend to achieve is to build a sustainable structure that can contain the kind of pressure, because freedom fighting carries a lot of pressure. And I'm also going to read it out here as part of the disadvantages, because when you have one individual leader, this individual leader is always under pressure all the time. The individual leader is always under pressure all the time, where he has to do all the thinking, he has to do all the whole, so most of the decisions that Mazi and Kanu have made on that individual level also come from pressure. And when you're under pressure, it is difficult to make a balanced decision when you're under pressure. I remember when what is it called? The Lekki Toll Gate issue happened. The police brutality protest that happened. Some members of the DOS, as at that time, felt angry. Some of them criticized Mazi Nnamdi Kanu because they said he never consulted them before he jumped into NSAS. Yes, NSAS protest. Some members of the DOS said that he never consulted them before joining the NSAS protest, to the point that even a protest that was independent felt like it was now hijacked by our leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, to the point that they now started using Radio Biafra to coordinate a protest that was the people's protest that had nothing to do with IPOB. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. I'm having serious. You see the sacrifice we make every day. Even with our flu and all that, we still make sure that we sacrifice our time, not minding coming on the screen to talk to our people, because we can't afford to miss this moment in history. So you have to bear with me, please. When I was listening to my broadcast yesterday, I discovered that my voice wasn't too clear. I didn't like it, but I don't have an option. I just have to do what I have to do. I have to do what I have to do. So now let us continue, please. Lack of diverse perspectives and high personal cost of maintaining absolute authority. Now, the organizational disadvantage of having individual leadership or individual leader. Number one, lack of diverse perspective. Now, lack of diverse perspectives is when a single individual makes all decisions. The organization is limited to that person's viewpoint. When a single leader makes all decisions, the organization is limited to that person's viewpoint. So you see that when you have a single leader who makes all decisions, you have limitation, high level of limitation based on one person's viewpoint. So when you see, one of the reasons there is a lot of misunderstanding today is the issue of accounting in IPOB. The issue of accounting, where Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's singular viewpoint determined how IPOB finance was being run. And we saw the damage that singular viewpoint, the damage it cost a whole organization of 70 million people. I'm just taking one point on the issue of account, because we have other issues too, where you have a singular viewpoint that have affected IPOB in different. In fact, one of the damages we even have in IPOB outside finance are also the loss of lives, which is even a more huge damage because of one person's viewpoint. We saw what happened in Obibo during NSAS, how people were massacred, young people, because of one viewpoint or one leader. Now, it says, this can result in lack of creativity. When you have one individual viewpoint, it can result in lack of creativity. That is why during the time Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was around, the Directorate of State was just dormant, no creativity, because he was the one making almost all the decisions. The Directorate of State didn't have that possibility to feel challenged, to make their contribution. They didn't have that liberty to exercise their mind, because his viewpoint always dominate the viewpoint of every other person. Not because somebody told me, but with what we are seeing today, it's very, very obvious that the Directorate of State, they were just micromanaging him to avoid getting into trouble with him. I believe that some of them would even say, okay, whatever you say goes. This can result in a lack of creativity and innovation, because team members cannot feel encouraged to share new ideas. I don't know. It be like how we organize class where we would see one-on-one they talk because this what I'm trying to like bring here to teach our people. I don't know if they can assimilate. I don't know if they can understand. It says that organizational disadvantage of one single individual leadership, lack of diverse perspectives. When a single leader makes all decisions, the organization is limited to that person's point of view. This can result in a lack of creativity and innovation because team members, that is members of his team, may not feel encouraged or share new ideas. So you don't even have the freedom, you don't have that courage to even, because whatever you are bringing to the table, you know where it's going to end. Say not your idea doesn't matter. That is the consequences of, and even when you try to push your idea, it might land you in trouble. Before you know, they call you Sabo. Before you know that they go tell you, say they suspect you. Say they suspect you. How are you sure that Mazi Yoba never collect money from Nigerian government? This one that is trying to now, okay, you are the one now trying to tell me how to run IPOB, Abi. I'm giving an example. Secondly, individual leadership, the disadvantage, stifled employee morale. Because we are now using the template we are using here is not the template of freedom fighting per se, but we are using the general, we are trying to use a general template, the general leadership template here. So when I talk about employee, it doesn't mean that members of the DOS were employed, but that is how Mazi Nnamdi Kanu saw them anyway. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu sees the members of DOS as his workers. He sees them as his employees. Because I remember one of the outing that we went out where Lolo had to put her bare foot. Lolo Uchechi have to put her bare foot on the soil to swear that he knows that these men that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have brought to work for him are faithful to him. You know, so when she said that he knows that these men that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have brought together to work for him are faithful to him, I was like, does it mean that the direct members of the directors, they say, are working for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? So Mazi Nnamdi Kanu doesn't even see the members of DOS as equal partner in the journey. He sees them as his workers. You know, so when he tell you that every money and contribution coming to IPOB is his personal money, he mean it. He's not joking. Because for him, we are workers. Now let me continue with the number 2. It says stifle employee morale. Centralized leadership can make team members feel undervalued or disempowered. I don't know if I'm communicating. Disempowerment. And that is why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu confided in somebody in DSS custody that he knows that nobody have the capacity to lead IPOB apart from him. So he knows that he hasn't empowered the members of the DOS to even fill the gap while he was around, he never empowered them to fill in his gap in his absence. Should anything happen, he never created a structure, a sustainable structure that could fill in the gap while he was away. But because he didn't create that possibility, because at some point when he had issues in 2015, when Uche Mefo was the deputy, Uche Mefo was able to cover the gap by, taking over Radio Biafra immediately and started talking to our people, because Uche Mefo had that deputy leader capacity. So when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was around, Uche Mefo was always representing. So that was why it was easy. That was why it was easy for that gap to be closed in 2015 when he was arrested. But when the position of the deputy leader was abolished, that gap of that deputy remained open. So the members of the DOS were just focusing on administration. Nobody was empowered to fill in the gap of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in his absence, per se, in terms of taking over the broadcast. And, so the members of the DOS had to, mobilize themselves, coupled with the fact that what happened also happened impromptu. They needed to gather information so that they will not be dishing out false news to Biafrans. They were kept in the dark. They needed time to be able to mobilize, get information to pass to Biafran people. So in the midst of trying to synergize, Simon Ekpa stepped in. Simon Ekpa stepped in. Hold on, guys, because I have a caller. Yes, so we'll continue. Just hold on. Yes, so centralized leadership can make team members feel undervalued, which is what happened, or disempowered, since their input is not sought. This often leads to low engagement, reduced job satisfaction, and high employee turnover. It reduces job satisfaction and high employee turnover. So you cannot expect a high turnover when you have not empowered people, to handle positions. Secondly, the disadvantage, this one is very, very, very important, because I'm going to analyze it very well for our people to understand. This number 3 point here, let me see if I can see Joseph Chukwu, but who is asking you all this now? Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not outside to defend himself in all this nonsense. So what the need? Well, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, Joseph Okechukwu, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu doesn't need to defend himself. We are speaking from our own observation, the reality. Observation is very, very clear. What I'm reading out here might not be sweet to you. I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm not here to make anybody feel good. I'm here to lecture you, because our people need to understand that we can no longer depend on the old order to take this Biafra struggle forward. We are no longer going to depend on the old order to take Biafra's struggle because the old order have failed us woefully. And we cannot accept that failure. So we are, just like Donald Trump is building a new global order, we too have to fall in line in building, in advancing ourselves to meet up with the speed of global development. Today you see how the whole world, things are changing. He said, but are you accusing him of many? I'm not accusing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu of anything. I'm not, you see, this is the problem I have with our people. They always have this kind of, configured mindset where they just make their conclusion. Listen, we are putting a evaluation on our failures, collective failure, because the failure of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a collective failure of every Biafran. And everybody must own up to it and take responsibility. So it's not about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. It is about the Biafran project. It is about the Biafran people. He said, you said many things. You said you have, let me see, because I'm ready to respond. With my teaching with it, you said many things. You said you have many evidence. What are you talking about? Evidence there our eye now. Can't you see the disaster of having a single leader? A single leadership structure. Where IPOB is today is an evidence of having a single leadership structure. The crisis we are facing today is as a result. So what other evidence do I need? The crisis that have befallen IPOB today is evidence of having a single leadership structure where a single individual makes all the decisions. So do you want me to go and print a document from one ministry or from one to come and prove to you? It is visible for everybody to see. And that is why you have splinter groups all over the place. That is why you have autopilot. You have every day new groups are emerging because you do not have a well-structured struggle that can cater for everybody, where one man makes the decision for 70 million people. So Joseph Okechukwu, Joseph Okechukwu, Joseph Chukwu, all you need to do is listen, because yesterday somebody dropped also a comment in my comment section where he said that even if a general is dead or a general is captured, that he can lead from captivity because nobody can replace him, nobody can take his position because he's the leader of the I don't know the kind of English that he used. And I say, army general will not train leaders to replace him. He's a failed army general. Because some of you, they do like so that they can't defend our leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. At the end of the day, you end up indicting him. Most of the things you say to defend him ends up indicting him. So if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu doesn't have confidence in people standing on his behalf while he was away, if he cannot trust their decision, or not trust who decision as a leader, even in his absence, that means he's an abysmal failure. Which means he didn't train people he's leading to be there to cover his gap in his absence. A leader will train people, a good leader and a sincere leader will train people to take over his job even while he's absent. Where everybody knows what to do at every point in time without waiting for instruction. That is how leadership functions. So for a leader to be showing doubt about people he's leading, to the point that he even confirmed to her secretary that he doesn't trust people he's leading, he doesn't trust members of the DOS, it means that he's a failure as a leader, because any leader that your organization cannot operate outside you even while you are away, even when you are not around, that means you know structure them. You know structure them now. Because if you structure, if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have structured IPOB, even while he's in Kuje prison, he doesn't need anybody to come and be gossiping to him how Chike Dozian is running IPOB, because he has already trained men and women who will be there. He will trust their decision. He will trust their decision. Joseph Chukwu. He said, but you did not hear from his... I don't need to hear from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu now. I don't need to hear from him. I don't need to hear from his mouth. I am using my own eye to see the failure. Which of the... Does he have to explain to me? The activities, things that are going on today have already done the explanation. And that is why I'm here. If Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have structured IPOB the way it's supposed to be, I wouldn't be here reading out and trying to lecture you on the importance of... I wouldn't be here wasting my time with kata where I get, they sneeze for front of camera. But because he hasn't done his job well, that is why people like us are stepping in to see that this mistake does not repeat again. So what else? How do I explain it to you, Joseph Chukwu? You cannot defend failure. Failure is always visible. You see it, you feel it. Or you think we are here to do sentiment and you said that he said he didn't trust. Of course! Of course! Mazi Nnamdi Kanu made it clear that he didn't trust the Directorate of State, even before he had issues. Even before he had issues. Even while he was also in Kuje prison, while he was arrested, his behavior also showed that he never trusted the DOS. You know, so I have to continue because I can't waste my time engaging. If you want to listen, just pay close attention, because most of the things I'm reading here is going to also open your eyes to understand the difference between a structured organization, structured leadership, and individual leadership. I want to make our people wake up from all these. I want our people to wake up. I believe, Joseph, you are not the one that is not serious. So we make business. So I can't leave what I'm doing. What time is it now? It's to 11 p.m. here. Joseph, it's 11 p.m. here. You understand what I'm saying? So me, I'm not going to feel leave rest where I'm supposed to get. Sleep where I'm supposed to sleep, to come here to play around. So telling me that I'm not serious, it's like you don't even, that it means you don't even understand what we are doing. You understand what I'm saying? So let me continue. Now, single individual leadership risk has a risk of pure decisions, relying solely on one person's judgment, increasing risk of critical errors, relying on one person, solely on one person's judgment, increases the risk of critical errors. Without a system of check or collaborative brainstorming, a leader may develop tunnel vision and lose sight of other important tasks or risk. Now, relying on a solely individual judgment, that solely individual judgment points to the issue of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu moving to Kenya. That solely individual judgment led to him making the decision to go to Kenya. Because if he had discussed the issue, if he had brought the issue of going to Kenya to the cabinet, that he had a structured cabinet, there would have been brainstorming. You understand what I'm saying? There would have been a brainstorming, despite the fact that we got also information that the Directorate of State warned that he shouldn't go to any African country. Despite the fact that he was warned not to go to any African country, not to step his foot. Immediately ESN was launched, he was warned not to. But he made that individual decision to take that risk. To take that risk. Maybe he was able to convince the Directorate of State that he has to go to Kenya with reasonable excuses. Maybe the Directorate of State would have found a way to provide a kind of shadow security for him, so that should anything happen, there will be an alert. I don't know if I have to repeat it. The office of the Directorate of State and members of the DOS warned our leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu not to step his foot in any African country. But even at that if he has not taken that his personal individual decision, maybe he would have been able to convince them, and they would have provided a kind of shadow security, so that if anything happens, they will be able to get alert that something happened, and they would have been able to do tracing and tracking and foil whatever danger he must have been in. But because of an individual, una don't know the disaster. You guys doesn't know the type of disaster where the whole mess that was made, the whole setback that we faced. Just imagine that we had a situation where all of us were on ground. Members of the DOS, everybody were on ground, like say we did ground. Some of the members of the DOS self would have been killed before they go know say their hand day waiting happen to our leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Because there was allegation. People didn't believe that they were not aware that he was in Kenya. People were questioning, how possible? How can you tell us that you are not aware that it's not possible, because people believe that there is no way he can make such a journey without informing his cabinet. Nobody believes say he will just go make some journey or go some, so for people will question that reality, saying a lie, or they lie to us. Say, how can he make a journey without letting not even one, not even two, not even any member of DOS to know? People no believe him. They say a lie. So, anyway, I see Joseph as somebody where these are not people who are ready to learn, because what I'm even teaching, I don't need evidence to make my presentations to you, because any living human being sees what is going on in IPOB today, have the evidence already that it's not a leadership failure now. Leadership failure as a result of a non-structured system, a system that is not structural, an individual-run organization. So I don't need evidence. I don't need to go print paper or go. What we are talking about just common sense plus scientific based research. I don't talk to you from I'm talking to you from a scientific based research. I don't talk to you from from maybe concocted. I'm not trying to concoct story. I'm trying to tell you the advantages and the disadvantages. So I'm trying to give you the disadvantage of individual-run organization. Yesterday, I talked about the advantage of leadership structure, structured leadership. So this one no need evidence. This one no need evidence. And you don't need evidence to be able to dissect the position of IPOB today and to find solution. So what we are doing here is solution-based discussion, and we are developing the formula to be able to find the best way to move things forward. So when you say accusation, nobody is accusing anybody of anything. We are only pointing out where we had loopholes. While Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was around, things he didn't do right, you don't need for me to come begin you understand? So Joseph Chukwu, all you need to do, if you want to comment, you can keep commenting. I'm not stopping you. If it's the one I will respond to, I will respond. But I will urge you to do more of listening than talking. Because when you do the talking and talking type, you wouldn't even be able to get the point I'm trying to make. Because you're already ahead of you're even ahead of me, trying to tell me, no, it's not like that. Give me evidence. You don't need evidence. Because the evidence is before everybody. I'm not going to, he said, maybe wait until he's out. Wait until you see the problem. You see the problem. You see, that is the thing we are saying. Waiting till Mazi Nnamdi Kanu comes out is also part of failure in leadership. Because, for example, I have worked in companies where they say the owner of the company know well. The Russian get accident, the Russian go hospital. So we have to shut down the entire machine of that company. Make we wait, make the man finish, get well from hospital before we now restart the machine and start production. Joseph Chukwu, you need to listen to yourself. So like as Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is in captivity, now we will just shut down government and be waiting for him to come out before Biafra struggle will continue. Unfortunately, that is what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu wants. That is what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu want of us. Let us shut down IPOB and wait for him until he come out before we continue. Unfortunately. And that is how Mazi Nnamdi Kanu programmed it. That anytime he had issues, we shut down IPOB. We shut down IPOB, then wait for him to come out. Then he will now come and do broadcast and call all of us together. Then we will now start again. Chiamaka Chukwuemeka said, when are you people going? No, Joseph Chukwu said, make we wait. No, we off the machine. May we off the machine until Mazi Nnamdi Kanu come out before we restart them again. You know, so I will continue. The fourth point I am going to make here is over-dependence on the leader. When you have an individual leadership, there is this tendency of over-dependence on the leader. Over-dependence. Over-dependent on the leader. And that is what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, we want everybody to depend on him. That is how he structured IPOB. Say without him, nothing will move. And anytime we want to start the machine to start working, he goes, if you want to take over my company from me, oh, you people want to Chinasamoru. You want to take over my company. Chike doesn't want to take my position. Overdependence. Like Chiamaka Chukwuemeka said, when are you starting the machine? Now the battle with the fight, so now the machine is on. The machine had been on from the day he was kidnapped in Kenya. But our leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is afraid that if we continue to do production, say we go leave him behind. So he's afraid, say, maybe before he even come out, Biafra will don't come. So he wants that is why he's angry. That Chike doesn't want to take his position because Chike doesn't refuse to off the machine. That is why he's in Sokoto, trying to even, they walk from Sokoto. Because he feels that as a Biafra movement is going on in his absence, that these people will be like, say, I go that day here, where we say, I already told them that I will be the one to restore Biafra. They will come go restore the Biafra for my back. It can never work. We must shut the machine down. But we can't shut the machine down. Despite the fact that he hasn't structured IPOB to be independent in his absence, even if say they tell us, say, even if what he was telling us was opposite of the reality, based on what we've seen today, it is obvious. And that is why you see all this confusion everywhere. And the more you see this leadership trying to move things forward, the more you see some sort of desperation to stop them from moving things forward. Accusations. Sincerely, DOS contributed to the reason Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is still in detention, is still inside. If DOS picked up, they will not put eyes too much on him. I don't understand. Chiamaka, can you please explain better? Because I'm here to get feedbacks and also respond. How do you mean that DOS contributed? We are telling you that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu structured IPOB in such a way that he wants to be the only person running it. That in his absence, so how did you people hear from him or lawyers said and did not say? Ah, Jesus Christ, man. I no come know the kind of people wey oh boy, our people know hi oh boy, illiteracy bad sha, illiteracy bad. Our people dey backward. Bro, we are talking maybe because the subject we are dealing dey on a more higher level, so people are finding it difficult to even understand the discussion. Ordinarily, if maybe it's of a higher, we are talking on a more higher dimension, I believe. So it's difficult for people because when you communicate with people who are not on that level of understanding, it's always difficult. It's always difficult to relate. Because what I'm trying to lecture us on this evening, these are scientific based research management studies. So I'm not speaking from that angle of personal opinion. I'm not giving you my personal opinion. Okay, they do. I say, Mazi, these people are not IPOB, so they won't understand what you are saying. No, you are 100% right. Now we proceed. I will stop responding. I will start responding to comment. This one say, leave church, God, leave that big talk. You see, he said, leave that big talk, Jare. You see, so that is it. When you have to deal with people, you know, at some level, it is completely impossible for them to relate. It's impossible to relate. So somebody is, what I'm saying now, somebody is saying is church, because he can't relate to what I'm saying. So for him, his noise is like generator. What I'm saying to him, for him ear, a generator where they make noise. He said, church. You know, so you can't blame them. I understand you. What is it called? Elendo. I can understand you. My talk, they hit like generator because you can't relate, you know. So now let me proceed with overdependence on the leader. Overdependence. There is this overdependence on the leader. The team can become so reliant on a single leader's direction that they become incapable of making independent decisions or functioning effectively in the leader's absence. When you have a team will become over-independent because they are not even structured to cover that gap. But we thank God that this leadership was able to cover the gap. Even if that damage was made within the short period of time where an infiltrator have to come in, but they were still able to recover and start protecting the structures of IPOB. Now, let us talk about the personal disadvantage of the leader. Because when you have a single leader, okay. Now, the leader too himself have his own personal disadvantage. So we have to see how we can, you know, wrap it up so that I will see if I can open the line. Now, isolation and loneliness, personal disadvantages for the leader. When a leader becomes only the figurehead, when an organization is not does not have a structured system that have the capacity to run it, when it is an individual leader, you see that leader in isolation and loneliness. Leaders often experience a sense of isolation as they rise in position, having fewer peers to share their experience with, and needing to maintain professional distance to avoid favoritism. Now, secondly, extreme stress and burnout. Extreme stress and burnout is become part of the pressure that you receive. Now, holding sole responsibility for results creates immense pressure. This can lead to mental fatigue, anxiety, and eventual burnout due to the relentless pace and high-stake involvement. Now, public accountability or failure. Because the buck stops with the leader, they are often publicly blamed for all mistakes, even those made by the team or caused by external factors. Now, reduced empathy or hubris syndrome. Prolonged possession of overwhelming power can sometimes impair the neurological function tied to understanding and interacting with others, leading to a decreased ability to empathize with employee. Let's talk about the operational weaknesses. Inflexibility. A leader who relies on a single method or style may struggle to adapt to changing environment or crisis that requires a different approach. Bottlenecks. When every decision must go through a single person or a strict chain of command, it can lead to inefficiency and slow down the organization's ability to respond to change. I'm leaving the line open. If you want to call in on +39 388. I'm going to give only 30 minutes and I will close this program. Let me put the number on the screen. The number is on the screen. For those who want to call in, +39 388 177 9665. +39 388 177 9665. For those who want to call in to make their contribution, you have 3 minutes to make your comment. Okay, as I said, you said you want to bring this one. They look for Asiri. Iheme Lando, they look for gossip. That is why he joined me this evening, because he said I will bring it. So you, no evidence carry you come. You have not come to learn. So you are just hanging out. They look for evidence. Our people like. No wonder what I was saying was like church to your ear, because you were looking for that evidence. You won't see evidence. You know, so we've seen the disadvantage of individual leadership, and we've also seen a structured leadership where you have division of labor, well circulated, where every input is being made at different levels and categories. And that is why it is important that our people understand that IPOB must, for us to be able to succeed, we must run on a structured leadership system, well-structured, well-organized leadership system. Well-structured leadership system. If really we are serious about our pursuit, except we are here to play, except we are here to joke. This Joseph said, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is loved by Biafrans, so you need to trade with caution. And if there is any area where he's not doing it well, you guys are supposed to respect him first and wait until he's out. Then everybody can bring suggestion. Let me see if I can respond to this call. Hello, caller. Good evening and welcome to the program. Yeah, good evening and welcome to the program. Your name and where you are calling from, please.
I'm calling from Lagos.
Oh, calling from Lagos. Are you a Biafran?
Yes. Yes, I'm the question.
Oh, Demma.
Well done.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. See, when this thing happened, when Mazi Nnamdi was arrested, I wasn't expecting DOS to be waiting for Mazi Nnamdi to come out or even take instructions from him because he was in the prison. You don't know the condition at which he's going to tell you something or give instruction. Or anything. There is one Sofian film that says, do you understand? That was exactly what happened. Okay, let's take for instance that we are fighting a war. Now, okay, you see that there will be no instruction, no speed instruction for the next leader to pick up. I can check a release here, then they losing the no. So understand, all of us were crying. It's not everybody who registered IPOB who an Ipob member. I don't know if you're getting me.
Yes.
You know, when Nnamdi registered that are more dedicated than people now produce, that we are crying, like they were crying, seeing what was happening online. Something happened. Like people that we have been listening to Mazi for a very long time, and I lose you. This one. Like the thing was so painful. It was very annoying and touching. I'm telling you the truth. Able spirits in them, more moral in them, because so many people like this Lagos, like that time. So many people say forget where even with properties here. I don't know if you're getting me.
Yes, that
so
is
the
true.
thing
Not just only in Lagos.
And everybody was looking up to it, the leader, not the next to Mazi Nnamdi. You understand? So somebody in a prison, I need to check out any advice. Like how? If my major was to know the person, he will say, yeah, what are this thing? And another thing, us see, he wants people to take advice from him or not. Because you don't know the situation the man no. That is the truth. So that's my own. Even as it is now, meeting, advice Facebook, advice online. I know Nigeria, I know you, but I know Mike boy. And the mic and one boy here, I'm telling you the truth, and you know. Or this year can be one issue, only actually be used mother, and that one people use actually be me, and all of them that are being used as in the one they use name all these politics. Like Mazi said, you start with that, you're not with your hand. Frank and Ballon, now he will told this.
But why if you love Mazi Nnamdi Kanu so much and you believe in IPOB, why didn't you register and become and make your contribution directly? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Even people that are registered that I know, some of them that know. Some of them that know. As long about registering or not, that is not the issue. I won't have the issue at that time or now. When the people that even when they are log on the underground that they are not even registered, that is the truth. And when the go and know the name Biafra at that time, people around you will see reasons. Everybody papa somebody has said not the Kanu Sunday no go. But I'm telling you the truth. Abugi only being registered. Always some registered. This guy from here alone, never say me something before. Can South Africa never go in So the thing is not about registering, it's about the love you want for your people. You understand? All the time where one issue of visa na na court. All Igbo where the thing all the person got court here. When the police they discuss, the police onye discuss na say na no ndị Igbo taka ha shezuzu. Because of that name because someone name ka money enemy has say ka ga settle. You understand? Iba obodo am onye ugwu nwe police problem self. How I know ha arụrụ ya na azụkpọla gị. But onye nke anyị step nwere ike ichange the scene ya. Ọ ghara inwe encounter with you or help gị. I'm just telling you, let us call ourselves together. That is just what we need. That's what we need. But although now, ihe actually ime of DOS take decisions. I'll put her name online, please.
No. I na-achọ ka anyị kụzielu ndị be anyị. Ihe anyị na-achọ ime bụ ịkụzilu ndị be anyị the need for ha wee ghọta na akụkọ Biafra anyị na-akọ agafego akụkọ ofu onye nọ n'isi na ama mmewọta na-enidi ịkpakọta nsị ọnụ ebuilduo sistem nwere ike sustain struggle a and ọ na-ebuildro ya na ọ ga-enye anyị nsogbu just like I was saying nsịrị na mụ alụgo m ọlụ n'ụlọ ọrụ ebe onye nwe ụlọ ọrụ ọ bụ na ọya nwa wodo ụlọ ọrụ sef nwere accident moto ya kwuru eburu ya jebe ụlọ ọgwụ anyị chọrọ ka anyị gbanyụọ meshin chebe mgbe o si n'ụlọ ọgwụ nata agbamighọta and ọ nọ n'ụlọ ọgwụ na-enye anyị ọda because o setichaghị ihe ka o kwesịrị isi wee do onye ọbụla malụ ọlụ ọ kwesịrị ịbịa n'ụtụtụ ibido ọlụ gị n'ijiri mmadụ ịbịa gwaba gị nekwa so ndị mmadụ ịbịa na-asị anyị chelu ka onye isi nọdụ n'ugwu Hausa na-atụ ọda ọ dị ka onye nọ n'ụlọ ọgwụ na-agwa ndị kọmpani ka e ga-esi wee lụọ ọlụ ama mmịghọta ihe bịagwu many of us ike bụ na-ekwesị ifokọs ya nwa bụ onye isi ya ekwesị ifokọs ka ọ pụtagodo apụta ama mmịghọta nọ mpụta ya bụ ihe ka ọ bụrụ ọdụ ịbịa nọdụ n'ime na-azọ ọchịchị ọ mpụta ọkwa ịpụta ịbịa were oche gị onwe ya na ịbịa na-azọkwa n'ọchịchị. You understand what I'm saying? You know, so ya nwa bụ the thing ọ mpụta bụ ihe kwesịrị ka mkpa ọ mpụta bụ ihe kwesịrị ka mkpa ọ bụrụ ọchịchị biko ọchịchị onye ọbụla malụ ọnọdụ ụlọ na mbọ anyị na-agba n'ihe Biafra and onwere anybody nwee ike ịpụta echi bịa sị anyị nọ ya nwa bụzikwa leader of Ipob akwụbala onye aka ama mmịghọta. So the issue of the fear, sometimes some of us now wonder, where is this fear coming from? Fear of they want to take my position. Some of us cannot even figure it out. To the extent, was there somebody who put away it was him weak, he had in mind. Maybe we are accused. Am I water?
See, ihe ọbụla ọ na-ekwu bụ ihe figiri ya na that place. Ihe a gwara ya ọ nọ online ka ọ na-ahụ ihe ntị na-eme outside.
So asịrị akọrọ ya na-achọrọ ịbalị ọnọdụ ya.
Onye akọrọ ya, yes, onye akọrọ ya. Ọ nọrọ online ka ọ na-anụ ihe ọ na-ekwu based on ihe akọrọ ịghọtala omio. We have Korea. That's the thing. Oh, yeah, Korea on it, but I feel that oh, 4 years ago, baby, I see a liquid, way, anything. But that one shouldn't be an issue of power or anything. I was here banquet because he ain't too much. I got like too much.
Wanda, thank you very much for the call. Nnamdi, thank you for calling.
Thank you, sir.
I really appreciate. I really appreciate. That was our Wanda from Lagos, and she had made her contribution, obviously. You know, so I believe that people who really have interest in learning have learned that IPOB can no longer be that IPOB of 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago. No, we have to evolve. Whether you like it or not, change is something that is constant. Change is something that is constant, and you cannot stop change. Change in improvement. Change is in improvement. Improvement of the structure, reinforcement of the base, structural base. Making sure, let's see who the caller is. Hello caller, good evening and welcome. Please off your listening device. Off your listening device, please.
All right, it's off, Mazi.
Yes.
Mazi.
Your name and where you are coming from, please.
All right. Sorry for that. My name is Mazi Fine. Mazi Fine, coming from this location, Biafra.
You're welcome, Mazi.
Sorry, Mazi. Yeah, I've been listening to you. You know, at this your late or this night, my brother, I don't know what I will use to tell you. It's very powerful. Don't mind that guy that is trying to write rubbish because he can never understand. He's not a member of IPO. We that in the struggle, you understood your analysis and how you try to lecture us. For we to focus and know that this struggle has passed the stage of trying to anchor by one individual. That we have passed that stage. In fact, let me say that Mazi Nnamdi is a power monger. He's a power monger. Like this, our sister that finished, calling you, said that is what they told him. That is Asrakore Akoro. Nnamdi Kanu out in Asrakore Akoro. Try to destroy what people have, paid not only money, paid a life. People have paid a life to build. You try to destroy it. Mazi, I don't think that that's Rakore. Mazi Nnamdi know what he's doing. Because he can never accept Asere. Why he has leadership that will give my account of how they have worked and how far this struggle have survived. He refused all those things. Rather than to listen to his siblings. Mazi Nnamdi can never tell us that he never heard about Emmanuel Localo being locked up for 3 months because of stealing of snatching cars and sending people to go and snatch our people's cars and sell. You can never tell me that he never heard about that. And he just ignore everything, trying to, make us be sorry. I'm at work. Trying to make us believe that IPOB, he will put us into his shoe, something like that. We can never allow him. IPOB is not a family business. Mas, let me just allow you, but what I'm trying to say is this. I'm understood and I say all the IPOB genuine members understood what you are trying to point out, and we appreciate it. As Nnamdi Kanu can never destroy this movement. He can never. Even as my own mind, he must respect this leadership. He must respect himself and respect this leadership. Because I have lost people. People have lost their life for this struggle. Try to collect contact from Nigerian government and destroy this leadership because leadership refused to compromise. As Mazi Nnamdi Kanu never said anything yet. I'm pleading for leadership. I'm begging them not to be distracted, not to send anybody, not to look face, but not to do good work. Because if they be distracted or if they fail you know, because of what this Nnamdi and his siblings are doing. Maybe more 50 years to come, another person will come and say, Biafra, Biafra. Our people will not continue to be perishing like that. Let this leadership, Biafrans and the genuine IPB is strongly behind you people. We must do everything to protect you people. I'm telling you the fact. Stand where you stand. Don't ever move. Don't ever shake. Don't ever make a move. So that the next 50 years, another person will not come and give us and say, Biafra, Biafra. Our people will continue dying just like that. Please, I sign off from here.
Thank you very much. That's the reason we are here too, to keep educating our people, so that we'll be able to fight this battle once and for all. You know, so Biafrans, if anybody who want to call in can still call in before we round up, because I'm about rounding up. I'm about rounding up. You know, so for me, this one, the discussion we are having here is an intellectual discourse. It's not for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not a poor man before. That is not what we are saying. We are not talking about who is poor before and who is rich. You see, that is the problem with our people. You'll be talking about something important and you see them diverting attention. You know, we are talking about leadership structure. It's talking about what has poverty got to do with. It has nothing. Even Mazi Nnamdi Kanu himself said that he's not a rich man. So now they tell him now saying he be rich man or a poor man. This one said that they have lost faith in the DOS, Henry Chide. Well, it is you, because you are not the one to speak for Biafrans. I'm a Biafran. So if you, Henry Chide, have lost faith in the Directorate of State, that is you. Speak for yourself. Many of us have worked closely with the Directorate of State, and we know they have the capacity. We know they have the capacity to deliver. We know the DOS have the capacity. Right from the time Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped in Kenya and brought back to Nigeria, the leadership have put in their best, but every move they make always met by obstacle. Obstacle from the family of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that even when the DOS, I want to play a video now, where Kanu finally admitted that he was the one that cancelled the sit at home that Mazi Chike Doziem, the same sit at home that the Directorate of State were accused of, that they took money from Nigerian government to cancel sit at home. It's the same sit at home now that Kanu finally agreed that he told Mazi Chike Doziem, he gave him an ultimatum to cancel the sit at home. That Mazi Chike Doziem refused to cancel the sit at home. And he himself, Kanu, canceled the sit at home. Let us listen.
I called him on 7th. I called him on 8th, being Sunday. Said, please call off this thing. He said no. I told him, after 2 p.m., I will call off the sit at home. And immediately it was 2 p.m. on 8th of August, 2021, I called off the sit at home. And I can probably say it today. That very day, I saved the lives of millions of Biafrans in the Southeast.
You see?
On 7th. I called him on 8th, being Sunday. Said, please call off this thing. He said no. I told him, after 2 p.m., I will call off the sit at home. And immediately it was 2 p.m. on 8th of August, 2021, I called off the sit at home. And I can probably say it today. That very day, I saved the lives of millions of Biafrans the southeast. I called him on 7th. I called him on 8th, being Sunday. Said, please call off this thing. He said no. I told him after 2 p.m. I will call off the sit at home. And immediately it was 2 p.m. on 8th of August 2021. I called off the sit at home.
This same sit at home was part of the blackmail. Part of the blackmail that the Directorate of State called off sit at home, that they took money from Nigerian government to call off sit at home. But how many years? 4 years down the line, Kanu is now coming to tell us that he called the head of Directorate of State and gave him an order to cancel sit at home. And he refused. And he gave him time that if by 2 p.m. the next day he doesn't call it off, that he, Kanu, will call that sit at home off. And that he didn't call it off, and he, Kanu, called the sit at home off. Then after calling the sit at home off now, they now went behind the back and started supporting Simon Ekpa to continue with the same sit at home that he called off. Yes, Chiamaka Chukwuemeka said DOS have platform where they talk to people. And we are talking about interference in leadership here. Interference. When you have series of interference, then we've seen interference in the work of the Directorate of State, where we see even 15 commandments, 13 commandments being published in the name of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu say you must do this, you must put this person, you must remove this. These were interferences. Chiamaka Chukwu, I believe you are a mother in the house and you lead your children. And in the bid to lead your children as a mother, you see different interferences, maybe from your husband, and how do you coordinate that? How do you coordinate? You know, so you do not sit back and say, yeah, the DOS can do their best when you have, but when you have interferences all over the place, it becomes extremely difficult. Where people will go and forge paper for their own interest, putting Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's signature to back it up. Because they know that the Directorate of State respect Mazi Nnamdi Kanu a lot, that they cannot disobey him. So they take advantage of that to push their own agenda, push their own personal agenda, using the name of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to push their own individual agenda. You know, so it is easy for some of our people to sit back and put blame here and there, but you need to be in that position to understand. You need to be in the position to understand. You need to be in that position to really understand. Because if you are not in the position of DOS, you can never understand their challenges. You can only be in the crowd and, you know, because you are not even feeling what they are feeling, you are not seeing what they are seeing, you are not experiencing what they are experiencing. One of the issues that IPOB had from the time Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was rendition from Kenya to Nigeria have been family of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's interference, because they want to be in that position of their brother to make that decision that their brother is making or was making while he was away. They want to be the supreme leader of the indigenous people of Biafra in the absence of their brother. They feel that it is their entitlement to be the supreme leader of the indigenous, even if that they are the one to cover the gap. So that is why one the caller said that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that they were taking gossip to him. I can't doubt it, because they have to do whatever they can to manipulate his mind to see things from the perspective that it will favor them. So if somebody says that yes, that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is making decisions based on gossip, I know they doubt him. He's a human being. He can be influenced, especially by anybody can be influenced. Anybody can be influenced by your sibling, by your family members. And that is why IPOB now continue to shout, say, no, say this thing don't be family matter. Because they saw the direction things were going. The family of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu never respected the institution. They never respected the institution that their brother, established. And when you do not respect the institution your brother, it shows that you do not have the discipline. You use the influence of your own brother to push your own personal agenda, which is corruption. Just like what Sheyi Tinubu is doing. Even at some point, I remember that in the early days of Tinubu in office, Tinubu warned Sheyi that he doesn't want to see his son again in an executive meeting, because Sheyi Tinubu wanted to start attending, many of you read it in the paper, Sheyi Tinubu wanted to start attending economic executive meeting, where you have high government officials coming to discuss the economy, CBN governors, all these, what is it called? The Minister of Capital City, where you have this economic executive meeting that they hold every Monday, from what I heard. Sheyi Tinubu was almost trying to join them in that, and Tinubu wants Sheyi. News carried it, say, I don't want to see you again because you are not a member of government official. That is to show you that even Tinubu now even have more integrity. For him to have been able to restrict his own son from participating in a meeting that he's not supposed to be part of. What Sheyi was trying to do is not different from what the siblings of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have been doing. And you want people to keep quiet and be clapping for them? So there is no difference. There is no difference. So what we saw was bringing the same Nigeria standard into Biafra struggle. Because oh my God. It's very, very painful. Very, very painful. We imported Nigeria character into the Biafra struggle. That is the only system we grew up with. That is the only system we know. So we do not expect differently to see, but many of us will continue to make sure that things are done right. Despite all that, we still see, even despite saying Tinubu said try to restrict the family, but have Tinubu family not still hijacked his government? In daughter Yaloja, Sheyi na first son of president is moving with convoy as president's son. This is what we are experiencing now in our Biafra struggle. Is there any difference? No difference. The same impunity. Is that same impunity that made Kanu? So I give Mazi Chikedozie order to cancel sit at home by 2 a.m. I have to end my program here. Have a wonderful night, guys. God bless you all.